Well, welcome to Mounts Botanical Garden. Today we're going to do a little different kind of video, and that's because there is a special event, very special event, happening at Mounts June 30th. So go to your calendars and mark that date. They are going to have their first mango festival. Now this mango festival is going to involve tasting mangoes. You'll have the opportunity to buy mangoes and mango trees and other fruit trees. There's going to be all sorts of presentations, sort of talks on different parts of the mango picture, like different types of varieties, how to grow mangoes, all sorts of things. If you like mangoes, you'll love it. So mark the date. It's at Mounts Botanical Garden, and Mounts, they have a great facility here. They have the gardens, of course, but they also have some nice lecture halls and such. And we are going to get some guidance from some Mounts employees. They will sort of show us what's going to be happening and also tell us about all the things that you can sign up for.
Good morning, my name is Kara Kruger. I am one of the Palm Beach County Horticulture Extension agents here at the Mounts Botanical Garden, is where our office is located, and we're here to talk about Mango Fest 2024.
Yeah, this is the first time that Mounts has had the Mango Festival here, and so I know a little bit about it, but I'm really interested to find out more about it. I did want to sort of draw attention to this. This is the main entrance to the garden, and gardens are beautiful, and I recommend that you go through them, but I also recommend that you don't go through this gate for the Mango Festival. You have a whole special area that we're going to go see, but I mean, it's huge. There's a lot of parking, and it seems like the perfect situation for this particular festival.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll show you where to park and how to enter through registration and everything, but we did want to showcase the main entrance to the garden if you want to enjoy it at any other time. But yeah.
So, yep, let's get going. So you're expecting a lot of people at this event. I mean, you've had a lot of plant sales before, you've had other special events, and I know that you've needed a lot of parking for those.
Yes. And
so fortunately, you have a lot of parking for this event also, right?
We do. So this is actually a vacant old DMV that gets utilized for parking for a lot of the plant sales and other events. It is just north of the main entrance to the garden, so we'll have plenty of signs and volunteers directing traffic and helping everybody find where they need to be, but this is the area where people will be parking just because it is so large and we can handle a lot of vehicles.
And then can they enter through here, or how do they get to the buildings from this parking lot?
So we will have potentially
signs and volunteers.
We'll have lots of signs and volunteers. This is one of the potential entrances. We have we'll be deciding whether or not it's this entrance or there's another space that could be an entrance. But again, there'll be plenty of signs, and we'll make sure that everybody is able to find how to get to the mangoes.
So yeah, lots of space for parking, lots of volunteers, lots of signs, so it should be stress-free. So, yeah, the old building that was right on Military Trail, it's got nice signs and everything, and because I hadn't been here for a while, that's where I ended up parking the first time, and it's not where you want to be. That is probably the worst place to park for this festival.
Yes.
And so we've got, this area, it's close to a lot of the action, and lots and lots of parking. Of course, again, there'll be lots of signs and volunteers, and you have to go north of that original building on Military Trail, and I think it's Golf Road that you turn on, but you don't really need to worry about that because signs and volunteers.
Volunteers.
find your place to park and then enjoy the festival, right?
And also I think we're going to try to put a map on the registration page so that folks will be able to see kind of where everything is and where they should park, so that they do have that visual piece to help get them to the right place.
Terrific. And just so that we can get that information out to people, how do they get to the registration page?
So the registration page is still being finalized, but it will be an Eventbrite registration, and we're right now, because we're just trying to get our feet under us for this first event, we're going to limit the registration. So once it goes out, I know that you and some of the other growers, and we'll all put it on our social media, but it will be an Eventbrite, and we'll let everybody know that registration is open. So please just kind of pay attention to all of our social media and our websites and things, and you'll be able to get in and get your registration.
Great.
Get your tasting time.
Yeah, you definitely need to register before you come. It would just be complete chaos without that. And so if you register first, and you know that you have a space, and you can also buy tickets to the tasting and such.
Exactly.
The presentations are completely included, no extra cost. The tastings are some extra cost, not extraordinary.
Well, yeah, the tasting is included in the ticket price, but it's really important that you register, because that does give you your tasting time. So with your ticket, you get the taste.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. That's great. So it's
a one-stop shop.
But if you want to sign up for another tasting, then you can purchase an additional ticket for the taste another time. Like there's going to be tastings. Is it every half hour or every hour?
It's about every 45 minutes. 45
minutes. Okay, split the difference. And so every 45 minutes. And so if you go at, for instance, 10 o'clock, that was the original ticket that you got. You might think, oh, I could go at 11:30 and then sign up for the 11:30 tasting also.
Yeah, definitely.
So it sounds good. It just sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
It is. We're excited.
So I know there's going to be a tasting here, and how is that going to work?
So we haven't really fleshed out all of the minor details, but we do believe that it's going to be hosted here in our pavilion, outdoor space, because mangoes can be sticky and messy. So we hope to have the opportunity to taste several mangoes. We're going to have individual tastings, so registration will be based on the tasting time that you would like to enjoy the experience.
So you have like a lot of different tastings through the day at specific times, and then you buy like a ticket ahead of time, and then you show up and then you get to taste, right?
Exactly, so that it gives people the opportunity to go to any of the education that we'll talk about as well in the video, but to go to any education classes, to walk through the vendors, but really the showcase here is the tasting, because everybody wants to taste all of the mangoes that we have available here in South Florida.
Yeah, which is impossible because
that is true. Fair enough, yes.
There are hundreds of varieties in Florida, and they of course have different seasons, and so on June 30th, I'm not sure what varieties will be available, but you'll have a really good selection at that time.
Yeah, so we're trying to highlight some of the flavor profiles that are available here in South Florida and give people an opportunity to really experience the mangoes. So talk about what the tree is, how the fruit tastes, and it's going to be a more intimate tasting, about 50 people per tasting, so that they can then learn about the mango that they're tasting. So that's what's exciting about it.
So can we take a quick look at where they go to taste it?
Absolutely. So we'll just go right through this pavilion. This will be the entry.
So for Florida summers, this is great because you get a lot of air circulation, you're out of the sun, and you get the screen, so not so many flies coming in.
We'll keep some of the bugs out. But yeah, so we'll have it's a little bit in disarray right now.
Yeah.
We'll have the table set up, seating as well, so everybody will get the mangoes that we're tasting, and somebody will be walking around sharing what the mango the mango is that we're tasting in that moment.
Yep, there's going to be, well, everybody gets to sit down, which I'm thinking is going to be really good because there's a lot of standing up when you're going around and shopping for plants or seeing going through the garden. You get to sit down and not in the sun. And there's, I think, room for like 50 people, which is like what you were thinking of for the tasting. And I think it's going to be fairly, like the volunteers are going to be ready for the next group. They'll have the mangoes already sliced up and ready to taste. So
it'll be hopefully a beautiful dance with no hiccups.
Yes, we're hoping for flawless, but we'll just shoot for doing our best, right?
Yeah. So it'll be really exciting. I know this is what everybody is really hoping is the highlight, because you go to some mango festivals that you don't get to taste as many mangoes as you really would like, and the experience. So we're trying to make sure that we give everybody a good experience and get to taste several different mangoes from here in South Florida.
So like for each person, if you buy a ticket for 10 o'clock, or you would be able to taste like a piece of maybe 5 varieties. Is that possible?
I think so. So, I mean, I know that it has, from the growers, it depends on what the availability of the mangoes are by the festival date of June 30th. But we're hoping for at least 5, and our mango cutter volunteers will be hard at work all
They're probably
morning
practicing already. We'll work on apples now because there's no mangoes.
Food safety will be taught before any cutting happens so that everybody gets a good, healthy experience.
Okay, here we are at Gate 2, which is really an important gate. There's lots of parking right next to this gate, but it's a good access point for what's going to be behind here, right?
Yes, so this area will be full of hopefully our vendors selling mangoes, mango trees, and other tropical fruit.
And other tropical fruit trees, too.
And other tropical fruit trees, exactly. So people will get the opportunity to taste the mangoes and then go buy the plants for their yard.
Yeah, and so, of course, big entrance here. If you buy a lot of plants, that's a really nice.
Bring a cart. Exactly. So hopefully we'll be full of all of our local mango vendors, and everybody can have the opportunity to purchase fruit and trees.
So let's just take a quick look over here, because I mean every part of the garden is gorgeous, but this is really functional too. We've got like this big grassy area, and this is probably going to be full of vendors on June 30th.
Exactly. So I mean it's also perfect as we're here. We have some mango trees to showcase some of the fruit and what the trees look like. But yes, then vendors will be able to set up tents and sell their goods and plants.
Well, yeah, well, I hope that June 30th is as gorgeous of a day as this one is. So crossing fingers on that. But rain or shine, it's going to happen.
Exactly. So bring an umbrella just in case.
That is just beautiful and going to be filled with vendors of different plants and fruits and such. There's going to be like a really beautiful walk to like the heart of where this festival is going to be.
Yes.
So let's go take a walk here, and we'll just give people a little glimpse as far as what they will be walking through in order to get to and from the sales area and the area where the presentations are going to be.
Yes, the education is going to be one of the key things that's bringing this all together so that home growers can do what they are buying. So we'll have education for beginning growers, somebody who might buy a tree at the event and start growing that day, and people who have had mango trees in their yard for a long time. We'll have a lot of experts here to be able to answer their questions and hopefully bring them up to speed on the best management practices for mangoes.
So these horses here are sort of pointing the way as far as which way to go, but you really don't need to worry about, or rely on the horses, because it's really going to be obvious. There'll be signs and all that kind of thing. And volunteers.
Not be here.
The horses might be galloping off.
Yes.
Never know. These are temporary displays.
Exactly.
Yeah, the building from here doesn't look that big, but this is a significant building.
It is. It's really several buildings that are all connected with boardwalks, which can occasionally be a bit of a maze. But again, we'll have lots of signage and lots of volunteers to help guide everyone throughout the day so they can make it to the classes, make it to their tasting, and find the vendors to purchase mangoes and trees.
Great. So, which way would you like to go here?
We are going to actually follow this sign to the Hutchinson Complex, exhibit halls, offices, and restrooms. But
yeah, last one is going to be important depending on how much you're drinking.
Yes, which hopefully they do drink a lot. Stay hydrated. It's the middle of summer.
Yeah, water. Drink.
We are into the boardwalk. This is going to be the easiest entrance in order to get to the education classes, because they'll be in the exhibit halls. We'll be over to our left over here, but we're really excited about the education that we're going to be able to provide to homeowners and growers. But it's predominantly for residential mango growers to be able to understand what all goes into growing a mango tree in their yard.
Yeah, and there's some really good people who are presenting. Jonathan Crane, is he confirmed as far as coming up?
At this point, I don't know that he's confirmed, but
he's a possibility.
Fingers crossed.
Jonathan, if you're listening, you got to show up. I'm counting on you.
Exactly. So yeah, I know that a bunch of some local growers and South Florida growers will be here to talk about everything from mango history to pests and diseases and maintenance of your mango trees. So we'll be able to cover all of that throughout the day in different classes, and they will be repeated a couple of times during the day, so people, if you missed one in the morning, you can find another version of that class later on in the afternoon. So
how many people are you expecting for this festival?
So we're going to set the registration at 400 people. So 400 is what we're doing this year. Hopefully we're able to expand and grow. We're just trying to get our feet under us for this season to make sure that we don't leave people...
Don't oversell it.
Right, exactly. We want to make sure that it's a good experience and not a wild and crazy day.
Yeah, of course, you have so much experience with other events, and so it's not like you're going in completely cold,
right.
But it is something new. And this is, it just sounds like a great festival because, you've got all sorts of things happening outside and inside. And what I think of, because I've been through more than a few Florida summers, is that you do some outside things, then you do some inside things. There's a little hack there because you get to cool off. It's really nice inside.
It is air conditioned, and it's air conditioned. It can be a little bit chilly, so it'll feel nice. But let's go look at the rooms.
Okay, sounds great.
So these are the doors to the exhibit halls. Once you get in, you'll get into the main lobby.
Already cool.
So we'll come on in here, and we'll have 2 rooms set up. We can check out. This is exhibit hall B, so we'll have room A.
It will look different when when the festival's on.
It will look different.
You don't need to set up your own chairs. They'll be all set up.
Set up and projector screen and ready to go with an AV system, so that everybody gets to one, enjoy the air conditioning, get a little break from the heat, but also get a great education.
Great, and the other room that you're going to use is even bigger than this, it seems,
They're
isn't
the
it?
same size, but it has a little bit different equipment. But I mean, it's basically it'll be.
As I remember, it's like they're fixed seats. Is that correct, or am I remembering that wrong?
It is a similar setup with the chairs and potential tables, but we'll probably just have chairs. I'm not sure.
Okay.
The room actual setup inside is that'll be determined probably in the week in advance, and kind of what's the best layout for how to set up for folks.
What's your guess as far as how many people could listen to a presentation at one time?
I believe the capacity is 100 people per
room.
side. So it'll be, each class could be up to 100 people. So we have the space for you. So come and listen to the education.
Sounds great.
So this is Exhibit Hall A. This is pretty well what it'll look like. So people will be able to come in, have a seat, relax, and listen to some wonderful speakers talk about mangoes. So
are you going to alternate which room you're going to use, or are both going to be going at the same time?
They won't be exactly the same time. They'll be a little bit
like staggered a little
Correct.
bit.
So we don't have 200 people exiting at one time. But yes,
you've thought this through.
Some sleepless nights coming up with some details, but other people have done these things before. So we're really relying on some folks that have put on large events and their experience. And so we're working with other, the Mounts Botanical Garden team, as well as our other extension agents, to make sure that this event goes well and everybody gets a good experience learning about mangoes and tasting mangoes.
It sounds great, yeah. And again, this is such a nice temperature here.
It really
is. If you're really hot during the festival, take that as a signal that you really want to go watch a presentation.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which room, they're both cool.
They'll both be a good temperature, and it'll be a good listen. And the really wonderful thing is that as you exit the classes, you'll be able to exit into where we'll have the mango display. So getting to see a bunch of different varieties out on tables and kind of see what they look like. And it all, again, depends on what's available from our local growers, but we'll hopefully be able to get to display some really cool mangoes.
So this area is basically display area?
Yes.
And you'll have your army of volunteers?
Exactly.
It's a wonderful army to have.
Yes, it is.
Do you think there'll just be lots of tables all over then?
Yes, so it'll probably be lining the area.
Lining the edge, but then you have the center so that people actually, yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So this also goes to another parking area, and so there, it's unlikely that you'll be parking in that area because there's not as much in the way of
Correct. And that'll be really for vendor parking,
and volunteers,
parking, because we want to make sure that everybody does get through the registration process and enter through the vendor area, so that they get to experience the whole event from start to finish.
So it's definitely set up for you to follow the signs, follow where the volunteers are ushering you, and this is something that you can enjoy. And later on, you can go through all sorts of areas, not only of this complex, with the lecture halls and also air conditioning, and and there's restrooms around here. Mm-hmm. So those are all very important. But then you also are able to go into the garden, right?
Yes. So kind of going back the same way we came, or exiting through the boardwalk this direction, you can get back into the garden and walk the garden for more of a botanical experience.
So this, I think, is an important sign.
Yes, it is. So inside the exhibit halls where we just were, where the education is happening, the bathrooms are in there. There are bathroom stalls in there, men's and women's, and so that's air conditioning again is always wonderful.
So from this sign, it looks like you go down and left, but it's actually going
just
for here. Okay, these two main doors to the lecture halls also will get you to the restrooms.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm my confusion is all cleared up now, at least on that subject.
And also, while we're here, one of the other things that we're going to make sure that we have is food. So we will have a couple of food trucks so that people can, so they don't have to leave to try to find lunch, that they can stay on property and still mingle and go around and check out vendors and stop and grab some food, so that they can keep on with their whole.
Yeah, you got to have sustenance so you can, you're here for the long haul, right?
Exactly.
If a lot of people are coming from far away, and so you definitely want to be prepared. For me, I never travel without a water bottle.
Same here.
And June 30th, I mean, you might want to bring multiple water bottles.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. We do have some water fountains that'll be available so people can fill their water bottles. But want to make sure that you're able to stay for the whole day, because we do have education throughout the entire day. The classes will be repeated. We have different classes in each room, but then in the morning and then again in the afternoon. So if you miss something in the morning because of your tasting time, you can catch it again in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's is it like 4 different presentations in each lecture hall? Is that right or not?
Yes,
it's not quite decided.
4 to 5. We're firming up the speakers still, but we do have kind of the idea,
the framework,
what we would like to have happen. So our ideal education, and so it's everything again from selecting cultivars, your variety, flavors, the history of mangoes in South Florida, and all the way to pruning and maintenance and pest and disease prevention.
One thing that I think is interesting is, I mean, with so many different lectures available, there's actually I think 4 possibly. You might get some added to that, but they will be repeated. But it's not necessarily the same person that's going to give both presentations.
Right.
So even if you saw the first presentation, you might want to go to the same lecture given by someone else, because they might have a little different take, a little extra information that the other one didn't provide.
Exactly, and if you have questions, then it's a great place to ask your question to multiple growers or multiple educators and get kind of find out what the best answer for you is. Yeah.
And then of course air conditioning.
Air conditioning, absolutely. Has been here for, it's probably a year and a half now, and it was the artist actually his final building, his final structure before he retired. So he put this up, and it will eventually be a temporary structure. It's intended not to be here forever. But
I hope it lasts for a long time, because this is really neat. You're actually able to go through it. It seems like a great place to, take kids. I think,
families playing around it all the time. And graduation pictures and prom pictures and all sorts of.
Yeah, this is just really fun. It's in the shade once you're in here, pretty much shade, and boy, it's just a fun place, for pictures, like you were saying.
And it's a nice respite from the sun.
Right.
An exhibit that's called Origami in the Garden, and there's several throughout the garden. I think it's over in May, sometime in May, but it was extended a week or so. But yes, so they're all throughout. There's even the floating boats in the pond. There's some really pretty ones that are in the pollinator garden behind us.
And the horses that we saw earlier were also part of that exhibit, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's just really gorgeous area. And it's nice that, I mean, it just seems like it's really big, because they've sort of guided you through on these sidewalks where you get to see everything.
community resource, and that's actually one of the reasons that we are so excited about the Mango Festival, is because we know how much people love mangoes. We as extension agents, everybody in our office loves mangoes. We get really excited. Our favorite season is mango season, not fall or spring. We love mango season, and so we really want to showcase what not only Palm Beach County but South Florida can provide in mangoes. Grocery store mangoes are very different, and so if people get to experience what's available here locally, and then start using those local growers as their mango source, that's really what we want. We want people to be able to grow their own mangoes successfully, and then also use local resources. So I hope that everybody comes and registers and is able to come to the event that wants to come to the event. And if you can't, if you miss the registration, next year we'll hopefully do this again. We want to make sure that everybody also brings reusable bags in order to hold all the mangoes that they're going to buy, because I know that I will be buying mangoes. And if you have a cart, to bring a cart for taking any mango trees or plants or tropical fruit that you may be leaving with.
And lots of water.
Lots of water and an umbrella, just in case. If everybody brings an umbrella, it won't rain.
Yes, do your part. Bring an umbrella so we have good weather.
Exactly. So we're excited about it, and we want everybody to join us here and eat some delicious mangoes and learn about mangoes.
Yeah, I know that everybody who knows about it so far is really enthusiastic, because not only is the mango community is really dedicated and enthusiastic about mangoes, but in the past these types of festivals have been held elsewhere, popular but not like this. This is just going to be a great venue, and you have the ability to host presenters in air conditioning, and for people to enjoy all sorts of things. So I think it's really going to be good, and I'm just guessing, but I think this is going to be the premier mango festival in South Florida in just a few years.
I hope you're right. That's the idea. That's what we're going for. We want it to be an experience. We want everybody to enjoy it and really learn about what South Florida mangoes are.
Great. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you. Yeah.